everything we hear or have ever heard, everything we see or have ever seen, everything we smell, and everything that goes into our mouth, whether it be food or drink, has an effect on the brain.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Barbara O'Neill. Today we're tackling an incredibly important topic, how to treat depression and improve mental health. If you or someone you know has struggled with feelings of sadness or hopelessness, you're not alone. In fact, studies show that nearly 1 in 5 adults experience some form of mental illness each year. Understanding depression is crucial because it affects not just your mood, but also your physical health and daily life. In this lecture, we'll explore effective treatment options, including lifestyle changes, dietary adjustments, and holistic practices that can enhance your mental well-being.
It's a tragic thing today that in Australia, 50% of Australians have, are, or will suffer from some form of mental illness. And 1,700 cases of Alzheimer's is being diagnosed every day in Australia. These figures indicate that many people don't understand their brain, and they don't realise that we have more control over what we do and even what we say than we think we do. So in this short little time I have with you this morning, I'd like to just open the door a little bit and show you the parts of our brain where we make our decision and what influences them. So we're going to begin by looking at the brain. Now the brain, from side on, it looks a little bit like this. And there is what's called the limbic system, and the limbic system basically takes up about that part of the brain. And this limbic system is often called the emotional brain. And I think we all know about emotions. And I think we all know that emotions aren't a very good guide because they go up and down like the wind. But there's another part of our brain that God designed to actually control that limbic system, that emotional part of the brain. So to do this, we're going to have a look at the brain from top down. From top down, you will have a look at the brain like this, and in the front part of the brain, and we're going to call this the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, and I think the way you're looking it is. So in the right part of the brain, you could call that the I want section. That's down there. Sorry, not the I want, the I won't. Now this is a very important part of the brain. Where it's very important is, no, I won't have that cigarette. No, I won't have that cup of coffee. No, I won't have that big steak. I'll have a bowl of lentils instead. And on the left part of the brain is the I will. And the I will part of the brain is also very important because I will get out of bed and exercise this morning. I will go to bed early. I will make decisions that are helpful for my body. So you've got the I won't and you've got the I will. And we need a little bit of balance in there, and that's where we come to. Right in the centre is the I want part of the brain. What do I want? Do I want a healthy body? And if I want a healthy body, then I can trigger the I won't do that or I will do that. And God designed our brain so that this part of the brain, just here in the centre, is where our goals are. It's called the prefrontal cortex, or sometimes it's called the frontal lobe. And this is where our will is. This is where we make our decisions, and and the I will or the I want threaded through the won't, through the I want. That's actually what should govern our decisions. And that's so important because our decisions determine our destiny. So in the front part of the brain, this is where our intellect is. This is where our reasoning powers reside. And this is where judgment takes place. It is in this part of the brain where God communicates with man. In Isaiah 1:18, the Bible says, "Come, let us reason together." You see, this is where the reasoning happens. What should I do? Should I stay in bed and have another hour, or should I get out of bed right now?
Understanding how our brain works can really help us make better choices in life. The prefrontal cortex is where we set our goals and make decisions, while the limbic system is all about our emotions. When we're faced with choices, like whether to eat a slice of cake or a piece of fruit, these two parts of the brain can conflict. The limbic system might scream for that cake because it's delicious and satisfying, but the prefrontal cortex reminds us of our goal to eat healthier. This push and pull can be tricky. That's why self-control is so important. To improve our decision-making, we can practice mindfulness. This means paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment. By being more aware of what drives our impulses, we can choose how to respond rather than just reacting.
So, exercise. Our prefrontal cortex needs exercise because when we exercise, we increase the oxygen content in our 1 trillion brain cells. And if we've got enough oxygen going in and our 1 trillion brain cells are giving us 36 units of energy, can you imagine your brain function? Whoa. I've had 2 men come to our retreat who got depression 6 months after moving into a mouldy house. Because they're breathing in bad air. They're not breathing in good oxygen, so a lot of their cells are running here. And down they went. They were so excited to hear this because they couldn't understand why. Why did they have depression? That's why we should always have our why, Newton's third law of motion. To every action, there is an equal and an opposite reaction. There is always a reason. You see, depression is not a cause. Depression is an effect. So we need to look at the causes. And as we go through this, we're going to touch on a few. Dr. Neil Nedley, in his book, Depression: A Way Out, excellent book. I went to a seminar by him. He said, I noticed as a GP, sometimes up to 80% of my patients were suffering depression or on antidepressants. So he started to implement lifestyle changes. And he thought, if I could even equal the effect of medication on depression, he said, I'd be happy. And I'll never forget his next statement. He said, far exceeded. So changing the lifestyle far exceeded the management of depression compared to medication.
Now let's look at some practical steps people can take to enhance their well-being. First, improving nutrition is crucial. Consuming a balanced diet filled with whole foods can have a significant impact on mood. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as fish, nuts, and seeds, are known to support brain function and reduce depressive symptoms. Incorporating a variety of fruits and vegetables can also provide essential vitamins and minerals that promote mental clarity and emotional stability. Next, regular physical activity is key. Exercise doesn't just improve physical health. It also boosts mental health by increasing the production of endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters. Whether it's going for a brisk walk, participating in a dance class, or hitting the gym, finding an enjoyable activity can help elevate mood and provide a sense of accomplishment. Social interactions are another important factor. Building strong connections with family and friends can create a support system that helps buffer against stress and feelings of loneliness. Engaging in community activities or volunteering can foster a sense of belonging and purpose.
Dr. Neil Nedley says if he's got a severely depressed, bipolar schizophrenic patient, he puts them on 7 hours of exercise a day. That's a bit extreme. Cheap medicine though. That's not 7 hours of aerobic exercise a day. That might be walking around the whole town. Stop for lunch, stop for the bathroom, stop for some water, keep walking, keep walking. What are they doing when they do that? Bringing powerful amounts of oxygen into their body so their brain cells are starting to work down there. So when I sent my children out to do some sort of physical something in the break, they'd come back like this. And whoa. I can't say they got it like that, but it was a bit better. Number 3,
Temperance. The dictionary definition of temperance is not taking anything into the body that will harm it and taking in moderation the good things. All good things should be done in moderation, because even good things can go to poison if overdone. Yesterday when we looked at the stomach, we had a look at how you overburden that stomach, even if it's the best food, organic, the best prepared. It can turn to poison if you just overload that stomach. So all good things should be done in moderation, but there are some things that should not enter the human body if you're looking for optimum performance. There are some things that should not enter the human body if you want to conquer depression. There are some things that should not enter the human body if you want to safeguard against depression. Let's have a look at them. Sugar. And I'm talking about refined sugar. I'm not talking about honey or maple syrup. Refined sugar. Why refined sugar? Well, this brain cell, it consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. Well, wouldn't sugar be good for the brain cell? Well, when sugar goes in, blood glucose levels rise dramatically. That means that brain function is overloaded. It's almost like trying to control a fast car. So I was in Germany a month ago, and I was on the Autobahn with a young man named Zoran in his Tesla, and we went 220 kilometres an hour. Whoa! It's all right, I loved it. I love speed. My husband was very jealous. I would not like Zoran to do 220 kilometres an hour on the back streets of Frankfurt. And this basically is what's happening with the sugar. It's just hard to control. So very quickly, insulin's released. Get that blood glucose level down. And now it goes too low. How's intellect, judgment and reason down there? What's the old saying? Lights are on, but no one's home. That's why William Duffy called his book Sugar Blues. Because what does the sugar cause? The blues. It takes you down. Hybridized wheat. What's this got to do with depression? Sugar has a lot to do with depression because you're getting those quick highs and the corresponding dumps. The hybridized wheat does the same thing. It was hybridized in the 50s, went worldwide in the 70s. By the 1990s, every wheat product you buy is the hybridized wheat. It was pushed through quickly, so no safety studies were done. Sounds like the COVID vaccine, doesn't it? Pushed through with no safety studies. And only now are they starting to realise it's causing a lot of problems.
One major issue with hybridized wheat is its high gluten content. Many people have developed sensitivities or intolerances to gluten, which can lead to digestive problems, inflammation, and even neurological issues. Research indicates that the increase in gluten sensitivity parallels the rise in wheat consumption since the 1970s. These health problems can contribute to feelings of anxiety and depression, further complicating mental health challenges. In addition to sugar and hybridized wheat, processed foods containing artificial additives and preservatives can significantly impact mental health. Ingredients like aspartame and MSG have been linked to mood swings, headaches, and cognitive impairments. These substances can alter brain chemistry and contribute to the overall burden on mental well-being. To combat these effects, it's important to focus on a whole foods diet rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Nutrient-dense foods provide the vitamins and minerals needed for optimal functioning. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish, walnuts, and flax seeds are known to support brain health and can help reduce symptoms of depression.
Caffeine. Here is the nerve cell. And this little energy cycle is inside it. And these are the receiving stations. And this nerve cell is different to this nerve cell communicates via little chemical messengers. They're encapsulated, sent down the arm into the boutons, and then they're released out to communicate with the next nerve cell. That's how it works. These are neurotransmitters. What caffeine does is it interferes with the neurotransmitters. One is adenosine, and it, excuse me, acts like the brakes. When caffeine goes in, adenosine levels drop. The other neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. It rises, and it has to do with prefrontal cortex function. The other neurotransmitter is dopamine, and it rises when someone has a cup of coffee. Can you see the disruption it causes? Sugar and wheat cause a fuel imbalance. Caffeine causes a chemical imbalance. And what's the definition of depression? A chemical imbalance in the brain. Can you see that these three right off are contributing to that imbalance? And how many Americans have all that for breakfast every day? I know in Australia, I know the Australian figures, 50% of Australians at some time in their life suffer from some type of mental illness. 50%. So what happens? Let me show you. Adenosine levels drop, so very quickly extra receptor sites are developed to grab every bit of adenosine that comes through. That's why when someone stops coffee, they get terrible headaches. Because when the coffee stops, adenosine levels go back to normal, receptor sites are flooded, there's the headache. Acetylcholine, it rises when coffee's taken, and that's why people like it. Their brain works a bit better. But then the brain says, we've got too much acetylcholine. Stop making so much acetylcholine. Dopamine, that's your feel-good hormone. That's your pursuit of reward, pursuit of escape hormone. It rises. No wonder people say, I love my coffee, it just makes me feel good. But eventually dopamine levels get exhausted and there's no feel-good at all. And it is in that way that caffeine is contributing to depression.
Caffeine has a significant impact on how we feel and function, both in the short and long term. While it can provide a quick boost in energy and help with focus, many people find that they need more of it over time to achieve the same effects. This increasing tolerance can lead to a dependency where, without caffeine, individuals may experience withdrawal symptoms like fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. One major downside of caffeine is its effect on sleep. Drinking it later in the day can interfere with our ability to fall asleep or get quality rest. This can create a cycle where people rely on caffeine to fight off tiredness caused by poor sleep. In turn, a lack of restful sleep can heighten feelings of anxiety and depression, making it even harder to break the cycle. Caffeine also affects anxiety levels. For some, it can help improve mood and alertness, but for others, it can trigger feelings of jitteriness and heightened anxiety. This makes it important for individuals to pay attention to how caffeine affects them personally, as everyone reacts differently.
Alcohol. Alcohol is a toxic poison and has the ability to kill brain cells. There is no safe dose of it. In fact, in the Prohibition, was it 1920 to 1933? Mental institution occupancy dropped to 8%, all because alcohol stopped. Tobacco. Tobacco inhibits oxygen flow to the brain, so a lot of brain cells are up here. Drugs never cure disease, they just change the form and location. In the medical journals it states that antidepressants can cause depression. Now it might help initially, but then the person gets addicted to it. And if you don't find the cause, you'll never have a cure. That's why the detective hat has to be put on. MSG, monosodium glutamate, causes the nerve cells to overfire. So the food tastes great, but the nerve cells everywhere overfire. Mold, we already looked at that. Also, electromagnetic field excess. More and more problems are being they find this is contributing to. It's called the silent killer because you can't see it. You can't put your finger on it. It's a very socially acceptable list, isn't it? Now the drugs, there are 3 types of drugs that can contribute to depression. One is mind-altering legal drugs, mind-altering illegal drugs. If someone says to me, can you help my brother, he's got schizophrenia. I say, how old he is? 26. Has he done recreational drugs? What do you think the answer is? In 99% of cases, yes. There's been damage already done to the brain. Can they recover? It's a hard road, but I have seen recovery. But some never get back to what they were. It's just not worth it. So your mind-altering legal drugs, your mind-altering illegal drugs, but also the side effect of many medications can be depression. You can have 10 people on a diabetic medication and one will get depression as a side effect, but the others will not.
The impact of substance use on mental health is significant and often underestimated. Many people don't realise that alcohol, tobacco and illegal drugs can lead to serious changes in how we think and feel. For example, while some might use alcohol to unwind, it actually disrupts the balance of chemicals in the brain. This disruption can lead to mood swings, anxiety and even long-term cognitive issues. Over time, heavy drinking can change the structure of the brain, making recovery difficult. Tobacco is another major player. While many people believe that smoking helps reduce stress, studies show that it can actually increase anxiety and depression. People with mental health conditions often smoke more, creating a harmful cycle that makes it even harder to cope with their symptoms. Recreational drugs, especially stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine, can provide a quick high, but they come with significant downsides. Users may feel a rush of happiness, but this is often followed by a sharp decline in mood, leaving them feeling worse than before. The temporary relief these drugs offer can lead to a deeper struggle with mental health. Thank you for joining me today as we explored how to treat depression and improve mental health. Remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, and making small changes can lead to significant improvements. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe for more health insights. Take care of yourself and remember that you're not alone on this journey. Until next time, stay well.